Alright guys, today you're learning about implied main idea. So finding the implied main ideas, anything you read has two basic parts, it has a main idea and has supporting details. But sometimes the main idea is a complete sentence clearly stated. Other times the main idea is sometimes implied, meaning it's suggested by the supporting details, is not clearly stated in one sentence. So to figure out the main idea, you're going to need to look at all supporting details, and then you can find that implied main idea. So reading through the practice paragraph, radios have been stolen from 4 cars in our parking garage this month. Each time the thieves have managed to get by the parking garage security with radios in hand, even though they do not have a parking garage identification card, which people must show as they enter and exit the garage. Yet each time the security officers say they have seen nothing unusual. So which of the 3 options would be the best summarizing statement of the main idea, meaning what is implied? There is no single statement that is the main idea. You have to make it up with your own information and inferences using supporting details. Does summarize is implied main idea A, there are too many thefts in the garage? Which is true, but is that what the whole paragraph's about? B, there are not enough security guards, which they don't really mention anything about, but they do mention security guards. Or is it C, there's something wrong with the security in the parking lot? If you answered C, that is correct. There is something wrong with security in the parking garage. How can you tell this is the main idea? For one thing, it's the only one of the 3 choices general enough to serve as a net for the paragraph, meaning it's as general as possible. Choice A is implied only in the first sentence, and choice B isn't mentioned at all. So in addition, each sentence on its own suggests that security in the parking lot has not been working properly. Furthermore, the word yet indicates that there is a conflict between the events that have taken place and the duties of the security officers. Looking at this cartoon, what is the implied main idea of the cartoon? The man's flying in the air with his arms rapidly flapping. The man staring at him says, others are complaining that you don't leave any coffee for anyone else. So you can figure out that the implied main idea by looking at supporting details. The man's coworkers are complaining he doesn't leave any coffee. And B, or number 2, he has such a caffeine high that he's flying. The clearly implied idea is that he is drinking too much coffee. Here's another cartoon to look at. What does this imply about the newly married couple whose car is broken down? Notice they're on opposite sides of the road. Their car is broken down. It implies that the details show you the newlyweds' car is broken down, but since they're hitchhiking in opposite directions and on opposite sides of the road, we can assume that their marriage has broken down as well. So an implied main idea is only suggested, not clearly stated, and to figure it out, you always go back to the supporting details. To find the main idea when it's not directly stated, you look at who or what is the paragraph about, and what is the main point, and does all or most of the material in the paragraph support the idea? So let's look at this example. Researchers who study the science of shopping note that the men always move faster than women through the store's aisles. Men spend less time looking too. They usually don't like asking where things are or any other questions. When a man takes clothing into a dressing room, the only thing that stops him from buying it is if it doesn't fit. Women, on the other hand, try things on as only a part of the consideration process, and garments that fit just fine may still be rejected on other grounds. Here's another contrast. 86% of women look at price tags when they shop. Only 72% of men do. For a man, ignoring the price tag is almost a measure of his masculinity. As a result, men are far more easily encouraged to buy more expensive versions of the same product than are women shoppers. They are also far more suggestible than women. Men seem so anxious to get out of the store that they'll say yes to almost anything. So the topic of the paragraph is men and women shoppers. Choose the point that the author is trying to make about the topic. Men always move faster than women when shopping. Women look at price tags more than men. Men and women behave differently when shopping. Men make more expensive choices when shopping. When all of these are actually accurate, there's one that is general enough and covers all of the ideas of the top of the paragraph. And that would be C. All the details in the paragraph would support C. Choices A, B, and D are supporting details for C. Though they help support C, but C would be what we had come up with for our implied main idea. Let's practice one more. Read the paragraph below and answer your question. 50 years ago, Americans were sleeping an average of 8 to 12 hours a night. By 1990, they were down to only 7 hours a night. Now many Americans average only about 6 hours of sleep a night. Extensive research shows that losing an hour or 2 of sleep every night, week after week, month after month, makes it more difficult for people to pay attention, especially to monotonous tasks, and remember things. Reaction time slows down, behavior becomes unpredictable, logical reasoning is impaired, and accidents and errors in judgment increase, while productivity and the ability to make decisions decline. Students fall asleep in class and fail to learn all that they should. Marriages become more stressful as sleep-exhausted parents try to cope with their children and each other. Truck and auto drivers fall asleep at the wheel, and experts estimate that accidents result in over 1,500 deaths in this country a year. Workers perform less efficiently, and those in high-risk positions can endanger us all. For example, sleep deprivation can lead to the accident at the nuclear power plant at 3 Mile Island, Pennsylvania. What is the topic of the paragraph? Is it sleep? Loss of sleep in America, sleep loss for students and parents, sleep loss for drivers and workers. As all of these may seem accurate, only one is the best answer, and that is loss of sleep in America. If we look at 6 hours of sleep, losing an hour or two of sleep, sleep exhausted, sleep deprivation, the topic is referred to directly or indirectly in several different sentences. So you'll want to remember to look for repeated words. That will come in handy when you're circling your key terms as you're reading. You also want to mark major supporting details and additional words. Additional words are included here in the slide below. In this chapter or in this lesson, you've learned the following. At times, authors imply or suggest a main idea without actually stating it in one sentence. In these cases, you have to figure out by considering the details what that implied main idea might be. When you think you know a main idea, test it by asking, does all or most of the material support this idea? To find implied central ideas in longer reading selections, you must again look closely at the supporting details. Please take this time now to go ahead and complete the worksheet you were handed in class. I've attached it to the Edmodo lesson if you would like to use that. Friday in class, we will be in groups, and the first thing you will do is practice implied main ideas. So please come prepared. This must be completed by the time you come into your class period on Friday, or it will be half credit.